आहो देवी महादेवी आद्यशक्ति महामाता रिद्धि सिद्धि समृद्धि તમે સ્વયં આવો શાંતા આંખોમાં છે સૂર્ય ચંદ્ર અને કાન પર છે કંકુ બ્રહ્માંડ બનીને ચકુ એવા આશીર્વાદનું જંગુ તમે જ મારી વિધિ નિર્વિધિ તમે જ ભાગ્ય વિધાતા આવો દેવી મહાદેવી આદ્યશક્તિ મહામાતા તમે ગાયત્રી તમે સાવિત્રી તમે મીરા અને નાથા તમે સ્વયં શક્તિ ને સ્વયં સિદ્ધ પંડિત રૂપ અગાધા કટકટના આ પૂર્ણ કુંભમાં ગંગા યમુના ગાતા આહો દેવી મહાદેવી આદ્યશક્તિ મહામાતા रिद्धि सिद्धि समृद्धि તમે સ્વયં આવો રાતા તમે સ્વયં આવો મીરા તમે સ્વયં આવો માતા
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु मातृरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु मीरारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः पूज्य माँ भगवती, पूज्य श्री अरविंद, two families which are committed to sponsor this opportune time. Dr. Manish Bhai Patel and his family members, Sanjay Bhai and his family members, among us right from the beginning, who is very auspiciously present, Honorable Dr. Aldrich, his team, and you all respectable dignitaries, Mama of our respected madam, now whose cognizance is to be specifically taken today. You all friends, elderly respectable gentries, you are the participants of this divine comedy. Life is not a tragedy. Life is not misfortune. Life is fortune only. It is reality, de facto reality. It is our mind that distorts our life. Mind enters into pros and cons of the life, the framework of the circumstances, where time is one wheel and space is another wheel. Our cart is going on, our carriage is going on, our chariot is going on in the Kurukshetra, but it doesn't reach to the center. And as it doesn't reach to the center, it is deviated, sometimes here, sometimes there, but not straightway going to its target. And that is the movement, zigzag movement of our life that makes our life distorted. And the distorted life that appears to our mind becomes tragedy. The distorted life that appears to our mind become misfortune. The distorted life that offers the experiences, they are the experiences of our calamities, our accidents, our unexpected casualties, and whatnot. So it is the mind that is not up till now rightly understood, rightly comprehended, and rightly lived. The mind is a power, is a link between our human personality and the divine personality of transcendental consciousness, that is Paratpar. In Indian culture, it is called Paratpar, beyond our nature, our human nature on the barren earth. That is the nature, composite entity of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas in the terminology of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. It's a composite entity of Christ consciousness and consciousness of Satan. It is a composite entity of plus and minus. It is a composite entity of darkness and light. It is a composite entity of something that is good and something that is evil. That duality is the creation of mind. As mind starts focusing on it, focusing on one phenomenon that takes place around us, it immediately divides it. And as it divides, one portion of life we accept, which is palatable to our mind, and another portion of the same phenomenon is rejected by us, but that doesn't reject us. The portion which we are going to reject does not reject us. It keeps us so entangled that we just go on struggling and struggling and struggling to get rid of it, but we can't. And that compulsion ultimately proves to be a tragedy in our life. So, who is doing it? What force is there behind it? You can just focus on it. Sri Aurobindo, when lived in UK, he lived there for 14 years. When he was 7, he was deputed by his doctor father to UK, first to St. Paul's School, and thereafter he went to Cambridge, Manchester, continuously for 14 years. That is up to the age of 21, 22. He studied there in England, exclusively materialistic country, as materialistic as America. To be materialistic is not crime. To be materialistic is not lacuna. To be materialistic is not error of judgment. To be materialistic is not the penalty from the divine. To be materialistic is not misfortune. To be materialistic or to be spiritual, that is only the reality of life. But if we get both the aspects welded together and look to the life as a whole, then it proves to be absolute reality to us. So every moment we are supposed to be cautious, conscious, and vigilant. So it is not to be separated, it is not to be divided, it is not to be kept apart. These are the two facets of reality because it is relativity. We are living in the subjective reality, we are living in the arena of objective reality. 14 years Sri Aurobindo lived there in UK, and while living there, he used to roam, wander in the Lake District. There is one particular area that is Lake District, just on the bank of Thirlmere Lake. That is the place for poet Wordsworth of English literature, who used to go there, spend hours of his life, precious hours of his youth there in this particular district, and it is known as Lake District. In that Lake District, Wordsworth used to sit just on the bank of the stream, on the bank of this Thirlmere Lake, very wide lake, as good as ocean it appears to be. He was moving here and there. He used to sit there. There are certain places still today visited by Sri Aurobindo and his brother during his stay in UK. He received the same vibration as Wordsworth used to receive on that particular soil. That is the reality of soil. That is the living consciousness of this soil. And there, during his stay over there in England and during his roamings, but roaming for the sake of roaming, roaming for the sake of entertainment, roaming for the sake of self-settlement, roaming for the sake of composition, self-composition. We are distorted, we are distracted, we are all the while scattered. Our pattern is almost scattered, but it is the soil. It has got its power. If we are rightly connected, we are appropriately connected, the soil on which we are standing, we are maintaining our balance, we are maintaining our internal and external equilibrium. We walk, we are walking with balance. We stand with balance. We jump with balance. It is the balance that is not only our activity, it is two-way traffic. It is the soil that also cooperates with us. It is the soil that responds to our activity. It is the soil that responds to our velocity and movement. And with the result, we are jumping successfully. We don't realize what is real circumstance. We don't realize what is real time. So time is Einstein's time, and circumstance is Einstein's space. Poet Wordsworth, very renowned poets of English literature, specifically of Romantic era, where imagination, romance, fancy, imaginary creative flight, all such things and all such aspects have a very immortal place in literature. Because life is to be settled. Literature is meant for settling the life of the readers. We used to read literature not just for the sake of literature, not just for the sake of momentary entertainment, but in order to reset our life. Our life is not in order and it has to be put into order. So literature proves to be a powerful channel and powerful guide. That is why we are reading it. So Wordsworth, once upon a time, while roaming, sat somewhere under the tree, under the wide branches of the tree. And he started receiving intimations. An English poet, Western poet, just a young poet, having no serious, at most serious experiences of life in his period of youth, he started receiving intimation on this piece of soil just on the bank of Thirlmere Lake. And he started receiving the intimations, vibrations, and just composed one poem, which is an immortal piece in English literature, composed by poet Wordsworth. The title given to that poem by Wordsworth is intimations of immortality recollected in tranquility. Intimations of immortality recollected in tranquility. When we just experience tranquility of mind, absolute peace of mind, is not with the means of tranquilizer. It is not just we can get from neurologist, nor from neurosurgeon, nor from neuroscientist, nor even from psychologist. It is the peace of mind that is at a higher level, it becomes tranquility. And when our mind is well set in tranquility, rather, our mind is well enveloped, is well, Manjuma said on that day, engulfed. Our mind is well engulfed with tranquility. Then we become competent to receive the intimations of immortality. That is what that poet received in Western world, materialistic world. Why you people cannot? Was it not only his privilege, his prerogative? It is our also prerogative and privilege. But we must set our operating machine in such a way that it gets well set, its antenna is well set, its target is well set, its meter is well indicated, and powerful receiver start receiving it. Though it is immortality, our machine is mortality. It is the intimation of immortality, our instrument is mortality. We are standing on the soil. Still we can receive the intimations from heaven, intimations from paradise, intimations from God. We are human beings, victim of circumstances, victim of time, victim of space, victim of attacks, assaults, and we are victim of so many adverse forces around us, which are branded by us and by our mind as misfortune, as tragedy. This was the experience of poet Wordsworth, concrete experience in 19th century, not 1,000 years back. In 19th century, we are talking about that experience in 21st century. You can refer to it in English literature. You can visit any of the libraries here and you can get the selection from Wordsworth, selection of Wordsworth. You can refer to it and find out poem Intimations of Immortality. We are meant to receive intimations of immortality in our life. There, poet Wordsworth, while composing his lyrics, while composing his other poems, but under the same impact, under the same imperative impact of something that is much more powerful. Sri Aurobindo used word something that wished but knew not how to be. That something was there, hovering over. And from that coverage, envelope, hood, he was receiving certain intimations. That was the atmosphere when he used to compose his poems. So on one fine morning, he was moving here and there in the same Lake district. He found himself well engulfed, and there he could see, who am I? I am man. I am mortal being. I am ordinary man, but with the power of mind, with the power of intellect, with the power of discrimination sense, with the power of prudence, with the power of wisdom, with the power of sense of selection, with the power of focusing my invisible energy to the visible object. We hold it or not makes no difference. Whether it is in our hand or not makes no difference. If our mind is focused on it rightly, we start receiving something from that object and we start giving something from us to that object. It's a two-way traffic. That is interaction, and life is an interaction. Throughout the life, we are made to experience this and this only process. While receiving that poem on that very fine morning, he received the just diagram of mind. What is mind? What is mental potentiality? What is the function of mind? What is the charismatic portion of our mind? What is the charismatic personality blueprint of our mind? And he wrote, our meddling intellect, mind, what is the possession of mind? What mind possesses? Our meddling intellect misshapes the beauteous forms of the things we murder to dissect. Rose is there. We look to that rose, very beautiful one, very beautiful one. Where lies this beauty? The very first question raised by mind, not by rose. It is raised by subject, not by object. If we can change the direction, if we can transmit that right to the rose, rather than keep it with us, then tragedy will be converted into comedy. This is spirituality. We always keep our eye intact. And where lies this beauty? Where lies this fragrance? Where lies this freshness? Where lies this charisma? Where lies this? Where lies this? Where lies this? So many questions. Mind is never satisfied with one question. It is never satisfied with one question. It goes on asking without getting appropriate answer. And with all fake answers, mind gets so settled that I have got everything. Now I am master of this sequence. I am master of all questions because I have got master solution. I have got master solution. He says our meddling intellect misshapes. So the person who is holding that rose in his hand, instead of smelling it, instead of enjoying its beauty, instead of offering it to the God, instead of offering at the time of prayer to divine, he looks at the flower, beautiful rose. Where lies its beauty? He started one petal, took it out. Second petal. The entire flower was distorted, but no sense of any source of fragrance he could find out. Where lies the fragrance? Where lies the beauties? Flower is totally distorted. Flower is totally destroyed. Flower is murdered. We murder in the name of research, in the name of dissection, in the name of surgery. Surgery is meant for recovery. Surgery is not meant for murder. Medical science establishes the truth. We murdered that flower. The poet Wordsworth announced, our meddling intellect misshapes. Flower is totally worn out, torn out, messed for no reason of its own existence, for no cause of its own existence. And we got nothing out of it. What is our exercise? It is exclusively futile. Exclusively futile. As one incident as such makes our experience futile, series of such experiences makes our entire life futile. Our life is wasted because with our own eye we just established that no, it is my prerogative to know why that flower is beautiful. You are not the maker of this flower. You have not made it. You are not the cause of this flower. You are not the cause of its fragrance. You are not the cause of its beauty. How you are related to this flower? It is in your hand. That is your fortune. It is in your hand, that is your blessing. It is in your hand, that is your opportune time. Why not to realize it? Life for 90 years given to us is our great opportunity in this existence. But our meddling intellect misshapes the object. We lost the flower, we lost the fragrance, we lost the beauty, and we lost our energy too. We never realize it. We never realized. Wait for a while. Keep yourself aside. Try to look at it objectively, positive objectively. Flower now in my hand is my part. Flower now in my hand is the part of my personality. Power now in my hand is a beautiful portion of my life, beautiful portion of my concrete existence, beautiful portion of my concrete reality. Then you will start experiencing the receptivity of the intimations of immortality. And that is why Sri Aurobindo says that the Godhead seed might flower in the mindless space, not for murder, not for dissection, but for experience. Why that Godhead seed might flower in our mindless space? For our better experience. Up till now, we fail to realize, up till now, we fail to understand that experience is offered to us by the divine. Why not to accept it as prasad? Why not to accept it as blessing? Why not to accept it as fortunate time and fortunate moment? Mind is given to man for this very purpose. For this very purpose. And Sri Aurobindo loved Wordsworth much. Sri Aurobindo also used to roam in that lake district for hours together. That is how the framework, mortal framework of his personality was remolded, constantly was remolded. He got his education, he got his knowledge, he acquired his scholarship from Cambridge University or Manchester University, but really he acquired personality of Sri Aurobindo from the University of Nature. Communion with nature had made Sri Aurobindo the Lord. That is why life was given to us. Communion with nature. And nature is God. The same Wordsworth wrote in another poem. One vernal wood may teach us better than hundreds of sages. One impulse from the vernal wood may teach us better than 100 sages. Sages, Molvi, Mullah, Maharaj can teach us. Priest can teach us. 100 people as such, genuine people as such, they can teach us what is life, how to live it, how to evaluate, how to receive the forces offered to us at every moment from our life around us. What sort of modus operandi we must exercise in this birth? They are all teachings from nature. And Wordsworth says that one impulse from vernal wood, from the wood at the time of spring, one impulse, one wave, one vibration, as doctor says, one vibration of energy that comes to us may teach us better than 100 sages. You must keep your antenna well set to receive it intact, in toto, as it is, without giving our meddling intellect to work inside, which is not our right, nor our prerogative, nor the accountability given by God who has given birth to us on this earth. The things we cannot create, we have no right to murder it. The thing we cannot create, we have no right to misuse it. The thing we have not created, we have no right to misuse it. Our body is not created by us. Our body is either created by our father or our mother. That science starts from that moment. And we are misusing it. Who am I? I am, I am, I am, I am. You are not existing at all. He is human person. That is what Sri Aurobindo has written. We are the sons of God. We must be even as He. He is human portion, human framework, human body, trinity of inert physical being, vital being, mental being was given to us by divine. We must grow divine. What is our accountability? We must grow divine. We must realize why for this is given to us. This is the purpose of life. And if mind fails to give us the purpose of life, if mind fails to define our life to us before we start practically, responsibly start our living. So with responsibility, with accountability, with intelligibility and with sensibility, with faith, with wide sincerity, with the spirit of surrender, if we try to live our life, then life automatically and scientifically becomes yoga. We can't get yoga from anybody else. Yoga is nobody's asset. Yoga is nobody's property. Divine is nobody's property. We must start receiving intimations from the divine. But prior to that, we must set ourselves to receive it directly, without any distortion, without dissection, without curiosity, without inquisitiveness, with spirit of surrender, with spirit of submission, with spirit of wide acceptance. Can we not do it in our day-to-day life? In America, you have got very better chances than the people of the other countries. But that insight should be awakened. That insight should be just taken cognizance of during our well awareness, day-to-day awareness. If not, then what will happen? Sri Aurobindo says that nature takes your command. Nature starts controlling you and you are being dragged. And when you are being dragged to your target, you feel that it is misfortune, it is tragedy, it is calamity, it is whatnot. Because up till now you failed to walk. Up till now you failed to reach. So God started dragging you. Divine started dragging you. Nature started dragging you because you are misguided. You have lost your path. You have lost your path. So you are once again to be brought to your right track. Right track is yoga. Right track is yoga. And all different tracks where you have started just and covered long distance, but wastage. Wastage of time, wastage of energy, wastage of so many things. Wasted of your lifespan. Death is fixed. Moment is fixed. You have wasted 2 months, 3 months, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, 50 years. Will not come back. You won't get that time span back. Now postpone it to next birth. Doesn't matter. God is not in a hurry. He will be waiting for us there. Come on. You have lost your life. Now wait for next life. But when you enter into next life, try to remember what you have lost in the previous birth. But we forgot. We forgot. The moment we are born, we forget what we had done in our previous life. Fortunate are those who can establish this link. Fortunate are those who can get himself in the age of infancy related to the age of old age of the previous birth, lifespan of the previous birth. They are all yogis. They can feel the continuity of soul, continuity of psychic. Life is an eternal flux. This was definition given by Sri Aurobindo. Life is an eternal flux of consciousness. Eternal. Continuously going on. But continuously going on, getting riser and riser and riser. That is why this soil is given to us. This is why the cosmos is given to us. This is why the earth was born. and we are just given this earth as our playground, as our field. We may call it Kurukshetra, we may experience it as battlefield, horrible battlefield, not battlefield only, horrible battlefield, unconquered, invincible battlefield, where nobody would win, nobody would win. Clash was going on, clash is going on, and clash will be going on tomorrow. But one party will win and one party is defeated is not the logic, is not natural logic. One party is also defeated and another party is also defeated. Both are defeated. That is the horrible battlefield. In Kurukshetra, Pandavas were also defeated and Kauravas were also defeated. Only Krishna was invincible, and who won the victory? Lord Krishna won the victory. It was not the victory of Pandavas, it was not the defeat of Kauravas, it was the victory only of Lord Krishna. And lesson was given to Kauravas, lesson was given to Gandhari, lesson was given to Dhritarashtra. So life has its own purpose. We must try to seek and receive intimations of immortality. Mortality is given to us to start entering into the avenue of immortality. That is, we must grow divine. We must grow divine means we must have godly existence vibrating in us. We must have divine existence vibrating in us. We must have divine center vibrating in us and charging our mind, charging our body, charging our vital energy, charging our time and charging our space. Can we not live this way? Now time has come to make your mind silent for a while. Up till now, you have committed so many blunders in so many births. Now be silent for a while. Be silent for a while. And give room to your inner reality. Give room to inner psychic to work, to operate this instrument. When super driver, more competent driver is there, why to hand over steering wheel to the apprentice? Mind is our apprentice. Psychic is our captain. Psychic is our commander. Psychic is our charioteer, equivalent to Lord Krishna. But first of all, we must know the competence, talents, accuracy of the driver, and we must put our faith into him. All right, you are driver. Up till now, there is not a single traveler passenger who has asked for address, competence and certificate from pilot, from driver and from bus driver or car driver. We just open the door and sit there silently, get ourselves be seated, and we are quite competently get comfortably in it, because we are sure that this driver is so competent that we'll reach our target, we'll reach our ultimate terminus positively. Have we ever asked any pilot whether you are qualified to fly this, to have control and command over this flight? We sit silently. Accident is a causality. Accident is exception. Accident is not reality. It is the incident that is reality. Consistency is reality. So, can we not establish this consistency in our life? This earth is meant for this. It is given to us for this very purpose. That is what Sri Aurobindo says. We are the participants of this divine comedy. This is comedy. This is not tragedy. Swami Vivekananda lived for 39 years. He lived the life of a poor, starving man during his childhood and during his youth, and still was so happy, and died also with that utmost happiness which was not available at that time to any other youth similar to Swami Vivekananda. That is the true definition, true demonstration of life, rather. We must have it. This is how Sri Aurobindo started, why we are deputed on this earth, why that field was given to us. Take it for granted that it is not the horrible battlefield, but it is the playground of the God, playground of the divine. We are the agents, we are the representatives, we are the ambassadors, we are the counselors, we are deputies. On behalf of His pleasure, we are working here. On behalf of His bliss, on behalf of His prerogative and right, we are made to live and we are made to breathe successfully till 90 years without taking notice of what is going on inside. We never try to look within. But this is the purpose. So divine is not imagination, divine is not fantastic, psychic is not mere hallucination, psychic is not non-entity, it is a supreme entity. It's a supreme entity. But we never realized, and we never realized, so we put cross over it. No, it doesn't exist. What exists is only our mind, and mind can solve all problems. Mind cannot solve any problems. It is totally important. It is totally important. It is the representative of our barren consciousness. Backward scholars, Sri Aurobindo has written here, backward scholars sitting on the rickety bench of logic. They are backward. Scholarship is not our shastra, not our armament, not our strength. Scholarship is meant for making our instrument rightly directed, rightly motivated, rightly controlled, and rightly accelerated. Mind is meant for it. He is not the master of our life. Master is within, and mind is a strength to search out who is master, who is real de facto master of my life. That is why this life is given to us, human body is given to us, earth is meant for it. And once upon a time, Sri Aurobindo says, our prostrate soil bore the awakening ray. We must realize that our prostrate soil, our body, Panchmahabhut, composite entity of Panchmahabhut, composite entity of 5 basic elements which are there in our body, physical being, vital being, mental being. It is a trinity. This is composite entity. Our prostrate soil bore the awakening ray, but it has got one awakening ray. Every moment it is awakening. And that is why in your America, in Chicago on 11th September 1893, not 11th September, the day is known for tragedy. The day is known for awakening. Swami Vivekananda addressed Chicago Conference, World Conference in your America, in your country, on this soil. Swami Vivekananda was not identified before 1893. Had he not been here in your country, Swami Vivekananda would have been not recognized and identified in his native place, in his native country. It is your America that ultimately made the personality, the true internal and inner personality of Narendra Dutt Swami Vivekananda well exposed to the world. And today we remember him. Why for? It is America who gave identity card of Swami Vivekananda to the entire humanity. He is openly announced and openly addressed to the World Conference in Chicago on 11th September. Uttishtaha jagrataha prapya varan bodhet. Awake, arise and stop not till the goal is reached. Awake, arise and stop not till the goal is reached. Who is determined not to stop becomes yogi. At the age of 81, He is coming over here, doing this, receiving intimations, receiving vibrations, receiving vibration from transcendental consciousness. Sit there silently in your home, live happily. You are living in America. You are living in extremely materialistic country. Why to bother about all such things? Why to bother about all such? Let them live in their own way. If they are patients, they will die as patients. Doesn't matter. What difference it can make to doctor? What difference? Why to bother? Yoga is an active phenomenon. Yoga is not passive phenomenon. Yoga is not sitting silently in the caves of Himalayas. Yoga is Kurukshetra. For you to convert it into Dharmakshetra. From battlefield, it is to be converted into a programming, experimental programming, to search out the divinity within. And time is now. Time is now to search it out. That awakening ray, soil is not simply prostrate soil given to you, is not to be burned, is not to be buried, is not to be taken to graveyard, is not to be taken to for cremation only. It is to bring down divinity on the same earth through your center. Let your life be the portal for receiving this better communication, better intimations, better formulas, better knowledge, better experiences, better boons and blessings from the world above. It is meant for this. Our prostrate soil bore the awakening ray. Here too, the vision and prophetic glimpse Mother just lying down on her bed in her room, and Sujata came bringing new fresh flowers to get them replaced in the morning. So mother says, stop. Why, mother? Bring that flower to me. Bring that flower to me. That completely withered flower was there. Bring it to me. Sujata gave it to mother. Why do you like this withered flower, mother? I have got fresh one. Mother put it in her palm. Look at it just for a moment. Look at it for just for a moment. And what happens? It blossoms instantly. It blossoms instantly. Now put it with all fresh flowers there. Why? Why, mother? This flower wants to live on. This flower wants to live on. Can we not be that flower? In previous life withered away, but we are prepared to receive these intimations of immortality. Why for we are living? We want to live to receive these intimations. If flower's prayer is heard by the divine, why not our prayer? Why our prayer cannot be? We must have this capacity, we must have that potentiality, we must have that urge that is called aspiration. Sri Aurobindo's yoga starts with this aspiration. This is aspiration. If we can operate it, that we have got right to be immortal. Lead into miracles, common meaningless shapes. We take it for granted that our shape is absolutely meaningless. It has nothing to do with it. Today we are eating, tomorrow also we will be eating, day after tomorrow also we will be eating, before death also we will be eating, and while dying, that time also we will be eating. Nothing else. Eat, drink and get married, tomorrow we will die. Greek philosopher Epicurus says, why for life is given to us, eat, drink and be married, tomorrow we will die. Death is master of all. Death is all in all. Death is omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent. Whether God is living there or not, nobody knows. But death is living there, everybody knows. So everybody's knowledge is omnipotent, omniscient. And the experience as such is omnipresent. But this is accident. It is not event. Swami Vivekananda saw God. Virgin Mary saw God. Archangel saw God. Saint Peter saw God with his own eyes. Moses saw God with his own eyes. Poet Raskhan saw Allah with his own eyes. Mirabai and Narsi Mehta saw Lord Krishna with their own eyes. And Sri Aurobindo saw Lord Krishna with his own eyes. ICS scholar of the world in 1909, in last month of May. Can we not believe? They are the incidents. They are the divine events. They are not accidents. They are not accidents. Exception is more powerful than routine. Exception is more powerful than routine action. We are committed to routine action. We want to be safe. We are safety mongers. We are not truth mongers. We are safety mongers. We are safe. All right. This is our way. This is adventure. This is not safety mongering. It's not work for insurance. It is work for inner assurance. We must have inner assurance. And it is that psychic that can give us assurance for immortality. Because he is constantly showering his intimations toward our receiver must be well prepared. And now time has come to make our receiver transparent, powerful, and accurate receiver. We should get it filtered. It's not falsehood, but it is truth. We must be cocksure prior to its acceptance. You must be cocksure. The worship of a presence and a power, then what will happen? This soil will provide us an opportunity to worship the presence and power. Even in object also, we can feel the presence, his presence and power. This is the sadhana, penance, tapasya of fourth dimension. Up till now, we have been living in three-dimensional reality. E is equal to mc square is three-dimensional reality. But the fourth dimension reality is descending down on the earth. Is descending down on it. That is the kingdom of God. That is the paradise which was lost. Now time has come to get the paradise, to experience paradise regained. We have regained paradise. Be prepared for it. The worship of a presence and a power, we must be prepared for it. That is why Mother says, it is an hour of God. Are you ready? It's an hour of God. Are you ready? Those who are ready are getting it. Those who are ready are getting it. Doctor is getting it. See, concrete example before us. Why to follow the majority? Why not to follow the minority of a particular elevated class? Is it not our prerogative? Wisdom lies to realize the experience of the elevated rather than the common. That is what the book written by Fritjof Capra, Uncommon Wisdom. Tao of Physics, the turning point, And the third book written by Fritjof Capra, your American scientist, Uncommon Wisdom. This is uncommon wisdom. Common wisdom is a tragedy. Uncommon wisdom is a divine comedy. We must realize it. This is human tribe. Now, Earth just created by divine with specific purpose of evolution, and at a particular stage of evolution, human race came into existence, human body came into existence as tribal man, as old man, animal branded man before lakhs and crores of years ago. But that man as such came into existence. So many tribes as such came into existence, and Sri Aurobindo has written here that, and Savitri too awoke among these tribes. Among all these tribes, Savitri awoke. What did she do? Awakening ray. She captivated the awakening ray which is living within, and she became Savitri. Born as woman, but she became Savitri with the captivation of this awakening ray. Captivation means, doesn't mean as we hold pen in our hand, as we hold dollar in our hand. It's not captivation. To realize inner reality, to realize the intimations of immortality, she became Savitri. And this is flashback system of literature. Sri Aurobindo gave the introduction of most immortal character of this world-renowned epic, Savitri, and that is why name is also given to this epic, Savitri. Mother was once upon a time in her previous birth, remote previous birth, was Savitri, who got Satyavan immortal, who brought the soul of Satyavan from the kingdom of god of death and became immortal. In Indian culture, in Indian mythology, in Indian scripture, in Indian history. And the story as such, illustration as such, was given to Dharmaraja, the commander-in-chief of Pandavas on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. This story was with a spirit of demonstration presented before Dharmaraja in order to get him out of his own frustration and depression. After war, after massacre, Dharmaraja was terribly depressed, and in order to make his mind once again hygienic, to make his mind once again in order, this story was told to him by Matang Rusi. That is what Mahabharata says. Matang Rusi offered this story as illustration, demonstration, but was historically true, Sri Aurobindo says. Was historically true. It is not a piece of literature. It is not the story for aesthetic pleasure. It is for the pleasure of immortality. One lady who committed her penance in such a way, who lived the science of internal psychic in such a way, who conducted the experiment of her life in such a way that she became Mahasakti, she became Yogmaya, she became Radha, she became Aradhika, she became World Mother. And she conducted that experiment in such a way which is absolutely remarkable, and that is why the epic is entitled. Titles was given to this epic Savitri, because here autobiography of Sri Aurobindo is there, autobiography of the mother is also there. Experiences of mother and experience of Sri Aurobindo are well synchronized, well projected, well integrated, and that is why it becomes integral yoga, where feminine consciousness is also required masculine consciousness is also required. Grand total of he and she becomes integral yoga. It's a grand total, becomes integral yoga. So the very first introduction in this epic that is given of Savitri, and when at the time of her crisis, at the time of the death of Satyavan, and death is the horrible crisis. Kurukshetra as battlefield is not only horrible, it is a way to this horrible experience. Death is horrible. Death is a great test, unbearable plight, unbearable suffering, unbearable tragedy. In Greek darshan of Homer and Latin darshan of Virgil, Sri Aurobindo accepted Vedanta darshan, Sri Aurobindo accepted Christianity, Sri Aurobindo accepted Pushti darshan, Sri Aurobindo accepted Greek darshan too. In Greek darshan, there is one story similar to Savitri, as it was demonstration, illustration for a better height as target to be fixed up by the generations to live. For generations, is not for that author, nor for that poet, nor for the people at his time or her time. Orpheus and Eurydice were living in the forest. Very loving couple, very loving couple. And you people can know love very well. Here teenagers are also experiencing all such things. In our country it is not so, but in your country so freedom that is so digested and so powerfully lived that father and mother also become helpless with folded hands before them. Abraham Lincoln gave democracy and liberty to us, but real democracy or real liberty is being demonstrated by our new generation. And every parent, father and mother both, father in the office and mother in her office. Mother is not supposed to be in kitchen, as it happens in India. Mother is not supposed to be in the kitchen. Father also goes in the one direction and mother also goes into the another direction. Children are in playgroup or wherever they are sent. And after 12, 15, 16, they can be kept in home. And with utmost liberty, now you can do whatever you like. With laptop, with computer, with mobile, new toys are there. Toys are there, new toys are there, because new life is there. But the substance of life, the essence of life is very, very, very common. If we can find the substance and truth of life amongst all these sort of uncommonalities, we can have the true prudence and true wisdom, the true spirit of life. It is meant for new society to be born. It is meant for new matrimonial life is born. It is meant for new parenthood is born. It is meant for new way of life to be searched out, and that is yoga and nothing else. If yoga becomes our life, then we are healthy. If yoga becomes our life, then we are divine. If yoga becomes our life, then only we are guaranteed to be immortal. So the introduction of Savitri is given first in this epic poem. So we'll read at least lines for just for the sake of sample. It is entire go down before us. You may just go on reading it, and it is Mother's grace that will shower upon you people, and you will enter into the spirit of Savitri in your own way. I will just put before you certain samples, certain milestones, that this is the way you go ahead. This is the way you go ahead. Lord will guide you. Lord will guide you. Awake. Once again, awake. Awake and arise, stop not till the goal is reached. We get up every morning, opening our eyes, and we start looking at the clock, and we just put ourselves into the cycle, routine cycle, common cycle. Moving in common cycle, we get commonality. At least we can commit adventure to be just on the unknown track, our own uncharted route. Then we are adventurous, and then we can have Kurukshetra in the form of, in true form of Dharmakshetra. Kurukshetra is the true form of kingdom of God. Awake. She endured the moment serried march. She endured the moment serried march. She awoke when at the time of crisis. Whose crisis it is? It is the crisis of the final day of death of Satyavan, her husband. My husband is going to die today. Today is my marriage anniversary. Today is my marriage anniversary. It is the Saubhagya. It is the matrimonial life just only for confined to 1 year only. This is the plight of Savitri, and plight of there in Greek vision, Greek literature of Orpheus and Eurydice was also loving couple living there. And Orpheus used to go to the forest to collecting woods and fruits for their life. Eurydice is waiting for Orpheus to come back. Every wife is waiting for her husband. Let him come and we'll sit together and dine. This is common experience. She is waiting today. It is very late, and he didn't turn up. She was waiting outside under the branches of the tree and looking at the distance. Has he not come? Has he come? Has he not come? Has he come? She could not see because of the darkness. It's too late today. And she had snake bite all of a sudden. She died there on the spot. Greek philosophy demonstrates she died on the spot. Orpheus came. This is death. Orpheus came, looked at her dead body, started crying, striking his head on the ground, on stone. So all wild animals in the forest came to him. Mahakavi Homer, epic poet Homer, a very renowned scholar, renowned, dedicated to all such things. It is from the Greek darshan. Wild animals, one after another, came to Orpheus. Oh, you are crying, you are crying, you are crying. This is the crisis. I have lost my Eurydice. My life is lost. I have no attraction to live any further. I also will die. No. All started consoling him. Nobody's consolation was realizable, acceptable to Orpheus at this point of crisis. It was a curious crisis. Homer says, and Greek darshan says specifically, from where that story was taken out and derived by Homer too. Peacock came there on the ground, looking to crying unhappiness of Orpheus. Oh, you are crying? You just look within, try to find out. Have you got any instrument? Have you got any medicine? Have you got any superior potentiality? Have you got Sanjeevani? Have you got nectar of your own? You just look to it. Peacock can advise, Peacock can offer this solution, because in our tradition, in our culture, Peacock is a vehicle of Mahasaraswati, the goddess of knowledge, the goddess of learning, the goddess of prudence, goddess of true knowledge. As Einstein says, yesterday I told you, it comes from within or from above. That true knowledge came to Orpheus from above. And Peacock says that you have got your harp, you have got this music, you have got this mantra, you have got this dictum, you have got this uncommon wisdom as defined by Capra. You use it, go to the Lord of Death, please him, and get your Eurydice back. He went there, playing harp in his hands. Two dogs were there watching his gate. Dogs are everywhere. He went there, two dogs were there watching the gate of Lord of Death. He started playing the harp. Dogs were silent. It is the inner voice that can remove the plight externally. It is the inner voice that can convert pain, convert suffering, convert death into immortality. This is the intimation offered to this Orpheus by Peacock. He played on it, and ultimately gates was opened. Lord of Death presented himself before Orpheus. Oh, you are here? Since last 3 nights I have been here. What do you want? I want my Eurydice back. No, it's not possible. Law of death is immortal. Your wife is not immortal. Law of death is immortal. I am immortal. Here on the last day we also have just certain examples of the dialogue with death, very remarkable portion. Here just Sri Aurobindo lived, mother lived, and they had this vision for the next new age, that is the age of life divine. We'll see it there. I want my Eurydice back. No. He once again started playing the harp. The music of the harp, can we not play with our own instrument? Our body is a harp. Our body is the instrument. Can we not live that life which can offer true music, true mantric music, true charming music of Omkar? If Lord of Death, dogs are pleased and they became silent, why not Lord of Death? Moment came and Lord of Death was silent. He granted this boon, but on one condition. All right, you can take back your Eurydice with you, but on one condition. I want 100 conditions. I will fulfill all of them, but I must have my Eurydice back. He granted on one condition. Condition is remarkable in Greek philosophy. Sri Aurobindo accepted this Greek philosophy in order to combine East and West, in order to synchronize East and West, in order to make the truth of Eastern spirituality perfect and in toto by accepting the truth of Western world by Greek culture. On one condition. What condition? Your Eurydice will be following you, but you should not look back. You should look straight away. And looking straight away without looking back means what? It's not physically to take upturn. It's not physically to take about turn. Don't look back. Don't lose your faith in my words. As I said you, this is a mandate. As I said you, this is my command. I am Lord of Death, and it is my command. You have not to look back. Straight away look to your target. You will have to reach the earth. You will have to reach the earth. Don't look back. Eurydice will come, will follow, and you will get your Eurydice on the surface of the earth when sun rises. When sun rises. Our sun never rises. Till sunrise, you will not look back. Orpheus reached earth, started looking at the earth. 3 steps are there, only 3 steps. Within no time will be on the surface, will be on the surface of this soil, prostrate soil has awakening ray, will be there. Mind automatically got awakened. Up till now, psychic was experiencing and experimenting adventure of consciousness. That was projected by his psychic. And psychic word is also from Greek literature. Now, just within no time I will be there on the earth. Condition will be fulfilled. Without reaching and touching the earth, he looked back to verify. Samshaya Atma Vinasyati, it is doubt that becomes disastrous. Looks back. Or Eurydice was coming to earth, disappears. In the form of virgin fire, she went back. It's a breach of condition, and breach of condition penalty has to be paid. Orpheus was just rebounded on the earth. He could not swiftly walk and covered 3 steps. 3 steps are left out and was rebounded just on the earth. That is the plight of death. Orpheus lost Eurydice because could not fulfill this condition. If we have faith in divine, if we have excellent faith, ardent faith, untinted faith, unconditional surrender, surrender without reservation in divine, divine will definitely protect us. Divine will definitely be with us. We have divine velocity, and divine velocity is the immortality. So this is what the crisis Savitri also has faced, and this was the day when Satyavan must die. At the time of the death of Satyavan, Sri Aurobindo has given the true picture, true geometry, true biography, true reality, inner reality is equal to infinity of Savitri just in the beginning. And that is why the title to this epic, Savitri, is given deliberately by Sri Aurobindo. Let us have 2 minutes meditation before we conclude.